Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a very, very special 1 hour chat with, I would say, one of the beloved Canadian, Egyptian, Arab, Muslims, inventor, I should say, that I know in Canada. I'm so honored and privileged to have with me tonight Dr. Hatim Zaghloul. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Hatim Zaghloul.
Assalamu alaikum. It's nice to be back with you.
I have to remind everybody, Dr. Hatim, he's in Egypt as we speak, and he had to get up 4 o'clock in the morning so we can have this chat, because also he misses his friends and brothers up here in Calgary. Hatim has a very, very, very long history of giving to the community of Calgary, to the business community of Calgary, to Canada, to Canadian economy. If you're not familiar with Dr. Hatim Zaghloul, hopefully with this hour you're gonna know more about this genius and this scientist and this inventor that we were blessed to have him here in Calgary for so many years. So I would like Dr. Hatim, leave the mic for you, Dr. Hatim, and to have. I'm sure there's a lot of people going to be watching this, and there's a lot of people who want to say hello to you. So I'm going to start first asking you, if you don't mind, giving us. Hatim Zaghloul, when did you arrive to Calgary? And give us a pre-Cell-Lock, if you don't mind, pre-Cell-Lock phase.
Okay. No, I arrived in Calgary in 1983 at the end of the year kind of thing, and I started the master's program in the University of Calgary at the beginning of 1984. And did my master's by mid-85, and then started a Ph.D. as well in physics in the University of Calgary. Right. And in 1989, I left the university to work for TELUS as a researcher and a senior researcher, and started WILAN in 1993 and Cell-Lock in 1995.
Oh, so WILAN was before Cell-Lock.
Yeah.
So I remember back in the days in the 90s when people were talking about internet and stuff, people were thinking just like some kind of like a fantasy or some kind of like a way in the future. I mean, we could not even believe it. Did you vision or did you envision the world will be like this back in 1990 yourself? Obviously you did. You were ahead of the game.
Alhamdulillah, like if you read our patent, we described exactly the world as it is today and a little bit further. Like, we described that eventually we will not be using dial, we will be talking over data. And we described Internet of Things, that things will be controlled and communicated with, using this technology. So alhamdulillah, we saw, how it's going to be once you have a lot of data available to you.
Absolutely. And for anybody who would just Google Dr. Hatim Zaghloul, you're going to find all his credential when it comes to his inventions, his companies, and all the stuff. But really what a lot of people don't know, especially here in Calgary, is the social side of him, the community side of him, and how much really he contributed to the Muslim community in Calgary back from 80s and 90s and beyond. So Dr. Hatim, with all due respect to all the wonderful credentials and the scientific background, we would like to know more about Hatim, the community member, Hatim the father, Hatim the immigrant, the Arabs, the Muslim guy here in Calgary. So would you please walk us into when you came to Calgary, from what your observation, what was the status or how does Muslim community were back then from your point of view?
Well, we had one mosque in the southwest. It was a beautiful mosque, right. But not well attended. It was generally attended on the Fridays and the Eid prayers, and but it was a very good mosque, alhamdulillah. And but the community was kind of very, very divided. Unfortunately, along ethnic lines and so on. I was kind of lucky because, I was married into the, it was counted that I was married into the Pakistani community. So, I was kind of a bridge between the two communities. And, around 1989 as well, there was talk about that we want to buy a land in northeast Calgary. I believe that's where the school is now. Originally, that was not the land we got. We got another lot of land, and the city couldn't keep up couldn't keep their promise, so they gave us the land where the school is now. In any case, and that was, I think, $250,000 land. Brother Qazi Ahmed, was leading that initiative, and he did a great job recruiting me, because he was extremely convincing. So, we established what's called the Muslim Community Foundation of Calgary. I was one of the founders of that, and I was the vice president. Qazi was the president, and we started collecting money and raising funds.
Was that MAC?
No, MCFC.
MCFC.
The MAC was already around. Yeah.
Okay.
So we established the MCFC, and I got worried that, we would splinter the community. So I started pushing for establishing a higher council, and we worked on that for some time.
Oh, I see. So when we say back then the community was not as vibrant, or let's say only a few places or one or two places at that time, and was divided over like ethnic lines or backgrounds or stuff like that. So but still at that time you managed all to come together and buy so many properties, build schools, mosques, and I think you came after they started the cemetery, I guess, right? Cemetery was already there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we had already, our friends from before had started the cemetery, but alhamdulillah, we started that school, the Northeast School, as it's called, in around 91, and around 93, I became the president of MAC for a while being the vice president of the MCFC, and tried in that period to unite the two. Wasn't lucky at that round, but around 1995, I believe the community decided to establish the Muslim Council of Calgary. Yeah, the MCC, and there's a history around that too, but it's all very good history now. And we established the MCC, and I was busy in business in general from 93 till around 2003 or 2001, of course, when the big events happened. We felt we need to go back in and try to help.
Oh, I see. So at one point, sorry.
I see a lot of friends saying hi.
I just want to say, there's so many. I can start with that for sure. But so there was a talk between merging the MAC and the MCFC at one point.
Yes, we tried when I was the president of MAC in that short period, because I couldn't finish my year. I got very busy with WILAN. I think I became president in November 92, and I left in June of 93. And in that period, we tried very hard. We established the, the constitution of the MCC, and but there was resistance from the MCFC side at the time, so we didn't really succeed during that period, but we succeeded afterwards.
So I have a really big salam and greeting from Najah Al-Haj. He speaks very, very, very highly of you, and he really want to make sure that I'm going to pass this message to you.
Thank you very much.
So there's a lot of people. I will mention names as we go. So, Doctor,
salams to him, of course, and to everybody.
So, trying to merge two organizations back in 1992, 93, and then boom, in 95, you have a third one that pops up. So, can you explain to me why, if there was a talk to merge, all of a sudden a third one comes to life that pretty much oversee the other two? What was the reason? What was the reason behind starting MCC back then, if you remember?
Yeah, we felt that merging was not the best approach. If a group wants to do work, they're welcome to do the work, and we were, if they want to organize themselves, but what we needed was an umbrella organization that oversees all these activities and makes sure that all the mosques are, under one umbrella rather than splintering groups. And, so, that was the logic behind it.
Oh, I see. Okay. And then from starting I think you were chairman of all three of them then, right? I mean, you were the MCFC and also MAC and MCC at one point.
I was when the MCC first got established, I was not involved in it till 2001, I believe. So my first involvement with the MCC afterwards was in 2001.
Oh, I see. Okay. And at that time, being entrepreneur, being who you are, I mean, the synonymous name in the tech industries and all that stuff. Where did you see back in the 90s that the community was progressing positively toward, like as a group working together, or more into just everybody doing their own things and the common interest beside the mosque? And that's it, or were there? Were the community successfully trying to come together versus just stay walking in parallel or in separate groups?
No, it's a difficult one to answer. In a short answer. Really, the community. Generally, what is missing often is leadership. And, what one generally thinks as a leader or as a head of an organization or something, that once things stabilize, I will be able to do big things. But the truth is, things stabilize because you're doing a great thing.
So true.
So don't wait for things to stabilize. Put for people objectives that are within reach, but push them, like they would have to work very hard to get that. So right. When we first got in the MCC in 2003, and I if anybody says I did anything that is very wrong, I did big things because I was with great people, and I was standing on their shoulders, as Newton said. So the work of the great people, is what did all this. But we put targets for ourselves. So we used to raise less than 100,000 or 500,000 a year, and we suddenly decided we're going to buy a $6.5 million school, the Akram Jama Center, and
so true.
That was a very big stretch, and really it was a real estate genius of someone like Hassan Barnea that helped us finesse this deal. So you use all the resources of the community, and that's really what helped in uniting the community more than words or just sort of councils and so on. Of course, the 2001 the Twin Towers event kind of thing. That helped unite the community a bit as well, because we needed leadership and we needed to be together at that time.
Oh, I see. I mean, everybody know how you are a very really kind and very humble person. I really appreciate what you just said. We all know that you had an amazing team working. You worked together with a lot of great people back then, but also that doesn't take away anything from your leadership. You did provide leaderships. You did provide guidance. You were an essential and very, very major part of your era. As much as I want to give credit to all the people who work with you, but also I should mention that Dr. Hatim Zaghloul definitely provide the leadership. And talking about leadership, Dr. Hatim, and I don't know if this is coming. It's only me, or it's like us, so-called Middle Eastern, or that part of the world. You mentioned is what's really missing is a leadership, and because the will is there. The resources is there. You just need the plan, and you need this leadership, that people who gonna lead. And as you said, it's not like fix things and then start waiting for things to happen. Do things, and then things will start to happen and all this stuff. So, did you find it's hard to be an elected member or to be a public servant in our community? Was it hard back then as of today? Because the minute you step up, isn't as a volunteer, you feel like you take a huge hit by negativities, criticism, and doubting your motives, doubting your reason. You feel like so many people, so many forces try to push you down, try only to see the bad things, if there is any, and they completely put a blank eye on all the good things you do. So maybe I'm not describing the situation now, but is that something that you experience, or I'm just being myself here?
No. There's always negativity. There's always naysayers. There's always people that doubt your motives. And, I remember, for example, that we used to have a sort of a habit of, having fatire on Fridays. And, people thought I was bringing them to, get elected. Buying votes.
So even back then, eh?
Yeah, of course, yeah. No, and unfortunately, as long as we live, there will be negativity. But the right thing to do as an elected member of the community or as a volunteer is to be positive, and we should be the minarets of positivism, and we should only focus on positive things, and we should not over celebrate nor ever worry about the negativity. So I mean by that, when we did when we purchased the Akram Joma Center, we really didn't stop, and unfortunately, he became a shaheed. Akram Joma himself, worked hard, and we never stopped to celebrate. So it's both, you don't look at the negativity and you don't look at how great you did. If you ever stop to watch how great the move you just made was, you fail.
Absolutely. So true. But also, doctor, it's really hard when you try to help, when you really put your heart out and try to help, or try to do something for the sake of العالمين, not for anything else. But then you are faced with some portion of the people that supposed to be working for the good causes, is that these forces are trying to put the sticks in the wheels. And that's what I'm saying, is that this is what I'm trying to understand. This is for myself, by the way, and I'm trying to use your experience. I want to learn from you on that. So is it a human nature, or in our society it's a little bit, we spice it up a little bit, we criticize more, we were negative a little bit more, or we're just about like anybody else?
No, I mean, I just have to joke and say, that one guy was asking me, a convert, you know, and I knew him very well, and he was asking me about ghiba, you know. And I told him, I can't explain it to you. You don't do it. So unfortunately, you know, ghiba and namima is a little bit more, you know, on a personal level, is a little bit more Middle Eastern and Eastern culture, you know, unfortunately. But really, I say, you know, one should not let, you know, when it's only talk, one should not let it stop him. So, you know, I give you another example. We were once doing a fundraising dinner, and my wife, you know, people didn't know her. So she was sitting at a table, and it was a fundraiser for the school. And they said in the fundraiser, on the table she was in, oh, he's putting his children in a private school, and he's, you know, making this school for us, and it's not, you know, good standard. And she told them, do you know his children? And they said, no. She said, you know, they're homeschooled. And they said, no.
Homeschooled.
And they said, yeah, you know, so, you know.
Yeah, sorry. But I have to say why I'm saying this, because even everybody knows who are familiar with the area that you were here in Calgary, you know, they know how much work you've done, and I'm sorry to say this, how much financially you contributed to the community. I mean, I would love to have your permission to mention a few of them if I'm allowed to, but everybody knows how much you've done, and you've given this community hundreds of thousands. I don't want to say in millions, but it's still some people. And this is what shocking to me. Say, oh, you know, he's doing this to benefit this, to benefit this, to do that. So there's a doubt that I'm hearing. Like, I'm not talking to you only. Honestly, I'm just trying I just want to lift the bar high up a little bit and address an issue with our community, that really, when people leave their work, leave their job, leave their businesses, leave your world. You were your company was I don't know, in the top, I would say at least 100 back then in Canada. But still, people were, instead of saying the great work that these community members were doing, people always try to create doubt in that, as if, like, you know, they feel bad if somebody's doing good. So, and that's why I'm asking, did you experience that? So this is like something not new to our world.
No, we experienced it, but I have to say, at our time, and because of being proactive, you know, like after we united with the MCFC, and you know, suddenly there was a Northwest group that emerged, and you know, and they, you know, had doubts as well, and they doubted our intentions in trying to unite the groups, and you know, we eventually, with a lot of help from, you know, again, Hassan Barnea, you know, we managed to get them a mosque. You know, the back then it was a bank, I believe, that we converted to a mosque, and you know, but it is normal in our community for people to question motives and so on, unfortunately. But you know, one should, at our time, there was never a serious effort to derail our work.
I see.
You know, there was talk, and but we were proactive. We went to those groups and talked with them, and you know, worked hard. There was also a group, you know, and that's when I initially met Brother Fayaz Tali. You know, Assalamu alaikum, Fayaz. I hope you're doing great. You know, there was a group also in the southeast that you know, was emerging, and we did talk with them for a while, and you know, so you have to be very proactive in explaining yourself, and you know, that there would still be misunderstandings is normal, but you know, you have to be proactive. I see now, or I hear now, that there are big problems, and it's gone to a legal level, and that's very unfortunate. There's no doubt, and you know, I've tried to talk to people, but you know, I hope that they come to their senses and you know, stop these really wasting of efforts.
So true. So as I said, there's so many topics to talk about. So I've tried to be very brief and short in my question. You mentioned the Northwest, and I heard it from quite a few people. I mean, there's a lot of people in the Northwest. They have a huge respect for you, Dr. Hatim Zaghloul. I have nothing but I heard a lot of great things because everybody really give you the credit. Beside the group of that you were at that time. But still, that Northwest Musalla, the way the state was, the real estate was bought up, and the way it was divided, and the way it was sold or donated, and all this stuff. So everybody know, and everybody says, this is the really one of the great gift of Hatim Zaghloul to his community is buying the Northwest Musalla. So would you please just if you don't mind, if there's anything you like to share about that place back then, if you want to share it with us, that would be fine. Otherwise, I'll move to another topic.
No, it's because that's actually one of the most beautiful stories. They were praying in a 1,000 square foot bay in a mall, and I was business associate at the time with Hassan Barnea, and I took him once to look at it, and he told me, this mall here is a very unique mall in Calgary. I said, why? He said, it's the only mall that's got firewalls, so you can, if you buy it, you can sell each on its own. And he said, and by the way, if we buy it, as a wholesale and sell it individually, we would be able to spare that one bay, like it would be free.
Oh, I see.
Oh, okay. And so we put about, I think, $100,000 deposit and said, we'll pay for it in 3 months or something like that. And we started talking to the tenants, and most of them said they would buy. So, it sounded like we could do it very quickly. And but then just before closing, one of the tenants told me, I'd like to partner with you. And slowly he told me, well, if you let me take over, I will make the donation. I said, take over, And what people don't know is we actually made $100,000 on top of the donation.
Oh, wow, mashallah.
So it's a beautiful story, but it's really the real estate genius of Hassan Barnea.
Subhanallah. As I said, when there's a team that really working for the good cause of or noble cause like this, always the good results comes. But because buying that Northwest Musalla, we call it, I think it's called now, was really a milestone for our community, spinning off from the Southwest location. And also because that center gave our Muslim community of Calgary a lot of great people, great leaders, and it was really a great community centers. And we can see from the Northwest Musalla, also there was other projects spin off. But inshallah, inshallah, this is all going to be hasanat for you, for all the people who work with you. So because I saw it with Dr. Abdurrahman and so many other people from the Northwest Musalla, and as I said, everybody speaks so highly of you, Dr. Hatim. And this is really one of the reasons I want to give the Calgary community a chance at least to meet Hatim Zaghloul and see how he's still good looking, mashallah. He still look young. So do you remember when the Northwest Musalla purchase took place? What year?
Well, it would have been 2005, 2006 time frame.
So it's roughly around the same time that you were working. You worked on the Akram Jum'ah or Randall College by then. It used to be called Randall College. So at the same time you work on the two projects. Yes. Subhanallah. So if you don't mind, if you can share your side of how the Akram Jum'ah project came along, and if you don't mind, just fill us in for the history of this community of the Akram Jum'ah from your standpoint.
No, I actually will go back a little bit further. I'll go back.
You want to start with the OBK, the
Northeast School?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because that was a sort of an interesting story. we held a fundraising dinner, and back then we didn't have. We used to raise, as I said, 100,000 a year kind of thing. And here we're trying to buy a land for $250,000 and then build a school for about $2 million. And, we were sitting there, and I think we did a sort of a business dinner in one of the hotels in downtown Calgary. Right. And, we tried to brainstorm and how to do this. Right. And at that time, I had WILAN and Cell-Lock, and they were both public companies. Right. So, and they were both down, they were down to $1 at that time. And,
down from where?
Cell-Lock had gone to $4 and WILAN started at $2.50. And I really didn't have any assets other than my shares in those companies. So, I don't know what happened, but, to really push the collections, I said, well, guys, I'm going to give the community 114,000 shares, 57,000 of WILAN and 57,000 of Cell-Lock. And I remember Brother Muhammad Sabah came to me and told me, you're going to make a lot of money because of this donation. I joked about it, and, and sure enough, within 4 months things turned around. They were, WILAN started climbing. That was in January of '99. It was right at the bottom of WILAN at the time. Oh, wow. So, so that's how the donation came about. It's not that, and that the community sold it for millions afterwards. It's, was a blessing, So, that was not designed. That was God's work.
That was a blessing. So that was the blessing, Rabbil Alameen.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Then we learned. I became president of the MCC. I was involved in the MCC from end of 2001 till 2003 as a member, and then I became president in 2003. So right after I became president, I believe it was Brother Muhammad Sharanik and Hussein Amiri, they came to me and said that, the Rundle College was for sale, and it was really a very big project, they wanted $6.5 million, and they were talking about they wanted it cash and all that stuff. And again, with the genius of Hassan Barnea, we sat in a meeting with them, and he knew everything about Rundle College, and he told them, guys, you're building another college. They said, yes. He told them, you don't need the money in one payment. If we promise to make you the, sort of gradual payments to pay exactly as you need, we're all set. And we, they had asked for 6, I believe, and a half. We voted for 6.25. And, we managed to put about 1/2 of it over the first, we agreed to pay over 2 years. So we paid about half of it in 18 months or so. And we were supposed to make a half payment by, when we took over in mid-2005. And really, we had milked the community. There was not a penny left in the community to be taken. Everybody had pledged, and everybody had, So really, I was in a very tough situation. So I walked into the board meeting of the MCC with 3 options. So the first option, which I would have not accepted, but here it is, here's an offer of a mortgage from a bank for the $3 million. I don't want to do it, but it's your decision.
Right.
Here, and the second one was, I had an offer, an actual physical letter offer to sell Akram Joma Center for $12.5 million.
Oh my gosh.
So we would have not had 9 cash in our hands, or because we had already paid 3. And we could have bought the land, further out and really built it and everything for that 9 million. And the last was, guys, you figure it out and put together $3 million. We had built, we'd known, of course, that we're going to have a problem. So again, brother Suhail Musaffar's son, Suhail Ahmed, had started a leasing fund that we put together, and I think we had collected in it 1.2, 1.3 million, and we agreed that first use of the money would be to loan the community so that we can buy the mosque or the center. And then great people like Akram Joma himself and others, put together the rest of the money as Qarda Hasana, and we closed.
Alhamdulillah. And that was really a milestone, no doubt, for the community. And not only now we see it, but I do, I don't know if you allow me to say this, Dr. Hatim, but if there is one thing that stuck in my head right here, and I really know, like, our traditions and our teachings Islamically, we're not supposed to, mention and expose what we do, how much we donated, how much this, how much that. But what you've done, because I was there in one of these crowds, in one of these fundraising, Dr. Hatim. I don't remember. Maybe that was for the school at that time, and I really remember Sheikh Jamal Hamoud, Barakallah fi, and also Sheikh Jamal Hamoud says hello to you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Zuhair Osman, a big salam from Zuhair Osman. Like, yani, I was trying to line up some people, but because I want to give the hour only to you, so there was no way that we can have more one. Just we want to focus on you, but there's so many people I spoke to, and they really want to just say thank you for everything you've done. And so anyway, so one of these events, and then this is for you guys that are watching here. One of these events, and if I'm not mistaken, it was for the school and the community. Then we had this fundraise dinner, and everybody came together, blah blah blah. And Sheikh Jamal Hamoud, like, pumping everyone who will donate this, who will donate that. So as you said, he milked the community like all night till we reach, I think at that time, 250,000, if I'm not mistaken. So it's 250,000. And I remember then I heard the word takbir from Sheikh Jamal Hamoud, and Sheikh Jamal Hamoud says, we have a brother here, Dr. Hatim Zaghloul. He's going to match the donation of the community for 250,000, and he's going to donate another 250,000. And I think we walked away with $500,000. I never see this happening, but I just want to say this not to expose that, because this is something really people and this generation who's coming after you and after us, people need to know how all these organizations, how these places came about. It came from a really hard work and the dedication of the community members, people like Dr. Hatim Zaghloul. And I'm just mentioning this without his permission to, if I'm allowed to say this or not. But as I said, that moment, Dr. Hatim, it was burned in my mind. And this minute tonight is a reflection of me of that moment when you really stood up and you matched a donation. If I remember correctly, 250,000 at that night, and that was for me. That was just like a complete lift my spirit, and you lift everybody's spirit up, because we were able to raise that kind of money and they continue on with the project. Do you recall that event, Dr. Hatim?
Yeah, I think it was early 2001.
It's 2001, eh? So the amount was just about right, 250.
In that dinner, yes, and on stating what one donates and so on, only God knows the intentions. But Allah in the Quran says, in tubdu sadaqat, or if you show the donations or hide them, Allah, rewards. The point is, we show them because we invite others to match us.
Absolutely.
And exceed us. And when we hide them, Allah says, when tukhfuha tu'tuha al-fuqara. So when we hide them is when we're giving to someone poor, We don't, go in front of people and say, listen, I just gave, Hatim some money, No, you're supposed to hide it and treat the person with respect. But when it's community work, we want the community to know that it is community members who do this. So,
Absolutely.
There's always rich people, and there were always kind people. I mean, I don't want to name names, but there was families we needed money, we went to, and they never said no, never. So there's wonderful families in the community.
Absolutely. And I mentioned this again, as you said, really, because I do believe, as the Ayah Qur'ani says, وَفِي ذَلِكَ فَلْيَتَنَافَسِ الْمُتَنَافِسُونَ. This is where we really need to compete in that kind of work, in that kind of actions, in that kind of environment. Inshallah, this will be something for all our community to remember all these people. And just to have to mention also, last year, Dr. Abdurrahman, I don't know if you remember him, Dr. Abdurrahman, he also nominated you for like a hero of the community. So you were just like all over the here in Facebook. So really, people, since we have this social media stuff and people start to get more engaged and social level, so all these names start to pop up, with like Allah yarhamah al-Jum'ah, Dr. Hatim Zaghloul, and you mentioned good few names back in the 80s and 70s. Inshallah, we'll try to document as much as possible. Dr. Hatim, one of the things that I really heard, and I didn't know that, I did not know this till lately, that you were very active in somehow engaging the youth and working with youth to do something for young generation. Would you please tell me a little bit more about that? Because I have no idea. Literally till just recently, I find out that you were also interested in that.
Well, actually, what people don't know is part of why I left in '93 was a disagreement about how to handle the youth.
Oh.
We had a very, for me, was a very energetic sheikh that came to give a Friday, Zaid, the Eid al-Adha speech, and he came and he was very progressive. He took the youth from, lectures in the mosque to playing basketball and, and he really got the mosque to be vibrant. The youth loved it and came and so on. And he had his shortcomings. There were mistakes done. There's no doubt about that. And the community, got its back, many members of the community that, said, no, he needs to go. And I said, guys, and I told one guy, if you can make him go, you are going to suffer, like in your family. And sure enough, they made the guy leave. And, I felt that was a very big loss kind of thing. And, so after that, I didn't feel like, I could put, my heart to it. But then when WILAN got relatively high in 2000, we started a youth center in Al-Fajr Youth Center, I believe it was called, in one of the malls, I don't remember, in the northeast, and alhamdulillah, that was, I had very little to do with it, the work of, Brother Rashid Haider and, many other people with him. They did great work getting that center going and running it really for many, many years. And from it came other things that were very useful about the Iman, the sort of celebrating the success of students and so on. We have to focus on the users, and the mosque needs to be geared towards the youth, not towards the older generations.
So true. Doctor, everybody's talking about we need to focus about youth and we need to do something about youth. So everybody talks, but I don't see any roadmap, any plan, any actions. Well, maybe there's, I shouldn't say that. There's actions in terms of the programs is there, but also the engagement of the youth in these programs, it's really, really minimum. Like if you're talking, like if you have, let's say 100 youth, maybe we have 1 or 2%, not even 2%. So from your experience, like, I don't want to say if we are failing bringing the youth into the our centers and our life and keep them engaged. I mean, for number one, is there a reason why we didn't have those? We are not successful yet getting our youth engaged, and if we are, what would be the solution from your views?
Yeah, like I don't know, of course, the situation right now. But if you're saying that youth are not involved, it is because the community. One big problem we've had, or we've always had, was that we get older generations that remember how it was back home in Lebanon or Egypt or Pakistan. And many of us want to feel the same.
Right.
We want to live in Calgary the way we lived in Cairo, Egypt, and that can't work. That doesn't work. And our children that were born in Canada don't associate with that, don't want to live that life. So we've got to understand that we've got to let go, and that life changes and things change. As long as the pillars of Islam are intact, everything else is okay. There was nothing wrong with people playing basketball and in the mosque and or outside the mosque, the yard, and so on. And we need to bring the youth in and listen to them and let them lead. Really, we should have a shadow council or a youth council, and and take its And another, of course, very important element is to make them proud to be Muslim.
So true.
And that, alhamdulillah,
that is missing even up till today. Make them proud because they feel like, okay, why do I want to be part of this community that they keep fighting like this and that, and there's nothing really to be proud of except like I'm a Muslim. I'm proud to be Muslim, but when I look at my own community, my goodness, I just want to run and never come back. And so if adults feel that way, can you imagine what the youth feels?
Yeah. And, one of the things we did was being inclusive. I mean, we in our Eid prayers, we invited the Shia, they didn't come too much, but we invited the Ismailis, they came lots. And, it was about inclusion, it's a celebration, and that really, when problems happened, they took the leadership from the MCC at some, when really there were problems, and we need that, we need the inclusion, and if I say, include other groups, we definitely have to include the youth, and whatever it takes.
Right. So if I want to say one of the big reasons the youth is not involved because adults they are not providing a healthy environment for the youth to be part of, and this is one of the major reasons why we're not successful yet. Besides, we didn't have a plan, we didn't have a tangible program that you can bring people in, bring the youth in, and keep them in, and get them excited and motivated.
Exactly, and youth are interested all now in, unfortunately, with the speed of the internet, everybody's interested to make money fast. There's nothing wrong with the mosque talking about making money and, giving them entrepreneurship lessons and, making an ecosystem for, the youth to make companies and, and be progressive. We need to be very, very progressive.
Dr. Hatim, I have so many people, like there's so many comments, but I do have to just because I would love to put some few comments in, but due to the only have 1 hour, so I have to pass on them. But here you go. This is I want to know. Here you go, Zuhair.
Hi, Zuhair. I miss you all. Great work. Just relentless worker, brother Zuhair. I love you,
I'm so sorry, guys. I wish I can put all the comments, but Dr. Zaghloul, you just so we can put something that we can use after this chat. As you know, the situation with the with this situation, with the big organization, the MCC in Calgary, without going too much into details. So I'm just gonna, beside everybody say the last few years were really rough and tough, and I think you're familiar with that. What happened is, and this is the questions for you, is what happened is we have an election, new board came in, old board left, whether they like it or not, but let's say there was an election and there was a new board and there's a new body and new management. What really happened is the previous board cleaned out the house completely, as if like they destroyed everything, and they give so-called the new board is like, it's like nothing, no data, no website, no nothing to work with, and literally they come, they build, they destroyed and left, and new people came in now to have to reinvent everything from scratch. That kind of practices, was it back in your days? Would people do such things like a horrible things like this one, or this is like totally new to you?
No, this is very new, but no, absolutely. This is was unheard of at our time. No, I mean, no matter what, and you said في ذلك يتنافس المتنافسون. The rivalry on for the good of the community, that was always there, of course. But no, I mean, when Brother Najah handed over to me, it was a perfect handover, and we overlapped for a while, and for a while he was helping people. Brother Najah always helped the community members. So when I remember there was a case where an Afghani fellow needed some, help. I said, Najah, you represent the community as the chairman. Go and talk to people and try to solve it. And he tried, and so and actually I remember the brother came to me about a month after, and he said, you did nothing for me. You're the chairman and you are doing nothing. But I had, Brother Najah was doing all the work and did a great job, and eventually he was trying to get his daughter into Canada, and eventually we managed to help. No, this is unheard of. But if it would have happened to me, if and I say it was impossible back then, I would have ignored it and I would have just, started over.
And that's pretty much what's happening now, I think, with it starting all over. But it's a very sad for our community to go through, is instead of building out our own experiences, instead of moving like one steps up, it's always you go one step forward, two steps backward. And especially on the management side, because it's all about, and that's, I think, what we really lacking is how to develop a healthy, how to develop so-called future leaders, how to work with the current leaders, how to learn from previous leaderships. And I think that link is completely missing. I don't know why, and hopefully we can find solution for that. So we have
actually, I mean, the why is understood, and I mean, it's not my field, but someone wrote a book, الكواكبي. He lived in Egypt around the turn of the 19th.
Abdurrahman Kawakibi.
Yeah.
He was Syrian. Just excuse me, doctor. He was Syrian like me. So.
But he died in Egypt. So he wrote a book, and in it he said that, as you go east, you're starting from America, and as you go east, there is less of democracy, there is more dictatorship, and people like it. That's how people want to
said that. Wow.
Yes. And as you go to further east, they worship their president or their leader. The emperor in Japan is like the culture in Japan, or the religion is the godness or the holiness of the emperor. They worship the emperor, and that's a natural progression from America all the way to Japan. We're in the center of it, we are not. So it is not the nature of Middle Eastern people to be democratic, and unfortunately, we now are implementing a full democratic system in the MCC and so on. So it is alien to the nature of the people. But, you live in the West, you see how democracy is done. you should learn how to use it. And, and again, when I say we need to make our children proud, we need to show them we can be democratic and, we can live to the highest standards. We don't need to, show our little rivalries and so on. And unfortunately, when people forget they're working for Allah, they do silly things. But I believe the community will prevail. The great work of all the good guys like Zuhair and Brother Sharanik and Dr. Abdurrahman. Inshallah, together, they can build the community again.
Sorry, Doctor. Do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. Yeah.
Well, I think
you lost me.
Oh yeah, we're good. I have a power outage in my house, but but we got to continue till that's so funny. My goodness. But I'm glad. Thanks for being around. So because this is such an important question, Doctor. So I'm sorry if I missed the answer, if you don't mind. So we can continue for another 4 minutes, please.
No, for sure. Yeah, no, no, I say, we need to work together to rebuild and, and the best way to rebuild is to actually focus, as I said in the very beginning, set further goals, put a strategy and set a 4-year strategy or a 5-year strategy. And, when it's progressive, and a new MCC will not be able to stop it.
Right.
And that's the way to progress.
So, Doctor, if this, first of all, I want to apologize for all these people who commented. I could not really follow with all the comments, and also I would have really please if you can share these videos. We want to make sure as many Calgarians would hear this because Dr. Hatim Zaghloul has done so much for this community. At least when people remember when they walk to any mosque, they'll go to any masjid, go to all these places. Just remember the hard work of these pioneers who really worked so hard, and they provide these places and these facilities and for us and for the future generations. So it's always remember. Always is good to remember those people who came before us. Dr. Hatim Zaghloul, if you, after all this experience you learned in life and in business, you're a team builder, you're a company, you're inventor, you're Alim, mashallah. If there is a formula that you can pass it to our community here in Calgary, what would be your advice or advices for us in this small community of Muslim Calgary?
No, I give 3 pieces of advice, and a fourth comes in kind of play, which is really do what you like. Like if you're going to work or do anything, you have to enjoy your work. And number 2, do it a lot. People don't know. They see the overnight success of WILAN. They don't see the 7 years of hard work of 16 hours and not even 7 years, probably 20 years before that of 12-hour days of work,
Right.
So do it lots. Number 3, be sincere. Ikhlas, and that we learned from Islam, but, sincere meaning, if you don't know something, you don't know it, and be very honest with yourself. You can pretend or in front of people, but when you're with yourself, you need to know exactly what you know and what you don't know. The fourth one is the hardest one. Don't worry about the money; it will find you.
The money.
The rest will always come to you. But if you do the first 3, you can get a lot of risk. So just. It's simple advice, and it's good for business, it's good for community, it's good for everything. You've got to really like what you're doing. If you're cleaning the mosque, enjoy it. If you're setting up for a dinner, or and we used to have those nice, wonderful Saturday dinners together. I remember the generous donations of the brother, and I see a lot of familiar names, Sheikh Yassin al-Rafi and Jamal al-Rafi, of course, was a great helper and great pioneer before us. I see Jamil Ahmed, really all these are wonderful friends from the Calgary days. I miss you all.
And we really truly miss you. And as I said, there's a lot of people who send you salamat. And Sheikh Jamal Hamoud personally also asked me to send you this. As I said, Zuhair, Najah, and all these good names. Is there? I don't know about these three tips. Is there anything specific that we can you can give the MCC people, the MCC board, the MCC people who are involved? Is there anything that you can leave them with another advice, if you don't mind, specifically to those who are in charge today?
Yeah, no, I mean, you're in great hands with Brother Muhammad Sharanik, and he's, as I said, he's the one who came to me with the idea of getting Rundle College. So do the same. Put big strategies, put big goals, and unite the community around the goals. When there are big goals, big people appear and rise. And that's what the MCC needs to do is be inclusive, think of it for everybody, think of for the Northeast community, think for every community, and be progressive, lead. And that's the word. They need to lead. And leadership is not about commanding; it's about understanding what the needs of the people are and doing it.
MashaAllah. I wish we have more time, but now we have two reasons to finish this broadcast. One is I know you have other commitment, and number two is I can't even find the button to say end the live show. I have to find the button now to say.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please send my love to everybody in Calgary, and I wish you all the best.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Good night, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. That was really a great time. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.